Hi, it's Paul with this week's Winning Investor Daily. This week, I'm going to tell you about a secret stealth bull market that no one is telling you about. Now, the great thing about investing in these secret stealth bull markets and getting in early is that it really gives you a chance to make really big money, because you're getting in early. Tell you why that's important. And the kind of money I'm talking about is hundreds of percent. And if you stayed long enough with this investment, it could even be thousands of percent. And if you think about in terms of money, these are the kinds of investments that could take $1,000 and make it 10,000, 10,000 and make it 100,000, 100,000 and even make it $1,000,000. So let's end the suspense and let's talk about, so what's this secret stealth bull market? Well, it's something that I bet you're not thinking about and largely are not considering, because it's the Japanese stock market. Yes, the Japanese stock market. Yeah, it's that same stock market that if you go and look it up, you'll see it's largely gone nowhere for nearly 30 years. So let's go back a step and do a little backstory, which is that the Japanese stock market experienced this massive bubble that ended in 1990. And you can see from this chart that it went up into 1990, and since then it's done this. It's gone up and down, and it bottomed out finally in about 2009, and it's then continued to go up in a very wavy fashion. It's not something that anybody would really want to invest in. So, as I put it, it's been a roller coaster torture test. I think that if you actually were in it, that's how it would feel. And that's because every time the market seemed like it was getting going, there was something that happened. For example, in 2011, there was the nuclear reactor accident that crashed stocks again in Japan. And this happened again and again, as you can see on the price chart of the Nikkei index, which is Japan's equivalent of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And it's their main index that it's known by. So the natural question that you would be asking is, well, Paul, what's different now? Why should I invest in Japan today? And why does it give you an incredibly great chance to make big money, the kind of money that I was telling you about earlier? Well, I've got three reasons for you. First, Japanese stocks are dirt cheap, dirt cheap. It's really like being like an investor in the United States after the Great Depression. That's what Japanese stocks are valued like. And this is taken from some incredible research that's been done by my colleague Ian Dyer, who runs the $10 million portfolio service alongside with me. And he came up with this. In Japan, there are 2,959 companies that you can buy on the Japanese exchanges. And of these, 38%, just 38% are valued greater than $500 million. I can tell you that that is just insane when you consider that Japan is the world's third largest economy, still in the world. And so many companies trade below this fairly small number. And just for comparison, Ian went and checked in the United States. 58% of companies in the United States have a stock market value or market capitalization of 500 million or more. That's a 20% difference, which is absolutely staggering when you think about it. Now, some people will be like, well, Paul, it must be because, these companies are worthless. There's nothing there. Now, I can tell you that our research, which we've done, because we've put a lot of Japanese company into the $10 million portfolio service, this is not true. these same companies that trade on these Japanese exchanges are leaders in the fields of robotics, automation, haptics, and sensing technology, and generally electronics and more. In other words, when you go look at it and compare it, these companies are incredibly valuable. They have incredibly valuable technology that is being used all over the world. And it's something that I and my team are really aware of because of all the research that we have done in the megatrends of Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain, precision medicine, and even new energy. So the other objection that other people would have, they say, well, Paul, Japan has a reputation for being a terrible place for shareholders. Well, that was true a long time ago. However, it's no longer true. Today, Japanese companies are very aware of shareholders and aware of the fact that they need to provide a benefit to the shareholder. And so they are now all have very high standards for how they treat their shareholders. And the way that you can see that is from this chart, which measures return on equity and compares it to a global index. And you can see that Japan has nearly caught up to all the other markets. And some of you would be thinking, well, Paul, well, it's still below it. However, just remember what I just said earlier. Japanese companies are insanely cheap. So for you to be able to get that kind of return on equity for these prices is a complete and utter bargain. So the bottom line to this is that if you are looking for valuable technology companies that are really dominant, leading companies, Japan is the market where you want to go find it and where you can buy it. Now, the third reason is probably the least known reason, and I would tell you is the reason why you should get into Japan today. And that reason is scarcity. And those of you who have been following Profits Unlimited and me for a while, you know that in going upness, scarcity, or as I call it, scarce ability, is a critical factor in my system of going upness. And here's why this comes into play in Japan. You see, the Bank of Japan has been secretly buying Japanese stocks using exchange-traded funds or ETFs. And when Ian went to research various Japanese stocks for the $10 million portfolio service, he found that they have purchased $191 billion worth of Japanese stock. Just think about that, $191 billion worth of Japanese stock. And these represent 75% of the total ETF supply of all the ETFs trading in Japan. I can tell you that this is a huge, massive deal, huge. In other words, they have sucked up all of the excess supply of Japanese stocks using the ETF market. And here's why this is important. And really pay attention, this is important. You see, I know from having been on Wall Street for a long time that the big money investors, the institutions, hedge funds, pension funds, the big money investors, they are very underinvested in Japan because of its history and because of its big up and down moves. It's just been a very rough place to invest. However, sooner rather than later, I believe that they are going to come in to buy into the Japanese market. And when they do, they are going to come with their billions and billions of dollars. And what they are going to find is that Japanese stocks are scarce. And to meet their demand, there is going to be no stock in the market, which means they are going to be forced to bid it up. And they are going to send Japanese stocks soaring higher, which means that if you buy in before this demand comes in, it will mean massive, incredible gains for you. And shortly, I'll tell you how you can get in. But just understand, Japanese stocks now have all the three critical things that I always look for. They're scarce, they're valuable, and they're soon to be in demand. And that is the magic formula for big, massive gains in my experience. So The way to get in on this trade is to buy an ETF that trades in the United States. It's the Japan iShares ETF, which trades under the ticker symbol EWJ. So once again, that's the Japan iShares ETF that trades under the ticker EWJ. Now, if you're the type of person that wants the biggest gains that you can find, the real rock star, superstar investments in Japan, you'll need to buy individual stocks. And I told you many of the fields in which Japanese companies really lead technologically. Robotics, for example, they're a big leader there. Now, these are stocks that I believe could go up tenfold or more over any number of years. And if you're the type of investor that wants these types of stocks, you should check into the $10 million portfolio service that Ian Dyer and I run at Banyan Hill, which is our publisher, and also check into the Profits Unlimited service where we have a couple of Japanese stocks and where we'll be looking to put more Japanese stocks into the portfolio to benefit from all the things that I've been telling you about. So that's my idea for you this week. Buy Japan using the Japan iShares ETF, which has the ticker symbol EWJ. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And please subscribe to this channel if you don't already subscribe to it. And please share it with your friends and family so we can keep making these videos for you. So that's my video for this week. Until next time, this is Paul saying goodbye.